Hello and thanks for tuning in again. This week is the last week of my PTO, so when you see that, I'm already back at work. So I have to say, those 6 weeks went by so fast you can't believe it, but at least I was coming out of it quite relaxed, so that's a plus. What else happened this week you will see in a few seconds, and as always I say thanks for watching.
As you know by now, I'm doing Weight Watchers, and I'm currently having 43 points per day. I also have a weekly allowance of 28 points, from where I can take points if needed, but also can save up to 4 points per day and put it in there, as well as earn points from physical activities like walking. My personal goal is it to end the week with the 28 points intact. With that being said, let's get started. On Sunday I skipped breakfast, and as I said in last week's video, to celebrate my recent weight loss successes, I was treating me to a nice lunch. So I had a nice Croatian mixed grill, but took it to go. That way, using my kitchen scale, I could calculate all the points very precisely. With that dish, including ketchup and a nice salad, clocking in at 62 points. One big chunk of the points came with the fries, those were 16 points. As I have forgotten to say what I usually say, which is just having rice and not half rice, half fries. Say that 10 times fast. But hey, I wanted to treat myself and the fries were very nice and crisp. And regarding crispy fries, I have to say something else, but that will happen in a later part of the video. By the way, the salad in the upper right corner I had as my lunch. My current breakfast regimen is to just have crisp bread and maybe some high protein bread, which has very little points. I use skyr to substitute as butter, which comes at 0 points, just to have something to make the cold cuts stick. And the cold cuts I use are also very high in protein, and if they are poultry based, they even come at 0 points. So this whole dish only clocks in at 6 points. In the afternoon we headed to the movies, so I wanted to take something to snack on, and I found these nice corn-based snacks. One large bag only has 8 points and I took half of it. Honestly, it doesn't taste like much, it has next to no taste at all, but at least it tricks the part of my brain that wants to snack on something by keeping it busy.
So right now I am at the movies and watching the second Shazam movie. I'm here with my sister and we just were shocked because there is a water damage in the toilet and we had to go to one of the toilets that is still open. It's now a unisex toilet, but the smell in there is just ripe. So fortunately there was a pandemic and we have masks with us, so to dampen at least the smell a little bit, but it still was terrible. But I hope the movie will make up for it. So, let's go! Well, the movie was quite good. Not fantastic, but entertaining enough, you know. There were some parts in the middle where it was just happening and you would wish that it would give you more. But, well, it was decent. I guess I would score it like 6.5 or 7 out of 10, maybe. So afterwards, since I had still most of my daily points, we were deciding to finally go to Five Guys, because that franchise we heard so much about when it was opening in the US. Everyone was raving about it, and when it opened up in Germany a few years ago, quite close to the pandemic I think, we were planning to go there, but it took us quite a while because there was always such a big line in front of it, which indicated that it should be fine. So we were planning to go there. I had enough points. I even looked up what amount of points it would cost me, so I was choosing to have a small fries and a hamburger. So we went there, and I have to say I was a little bit disappointed, maybe even more than just a little bit, because first of all my sister was ordering a cheesesteak sandwich, which turned out to be like this small and it cost $7. My hamburger was $10, I think also a little bit overpriced. It was tasty enough, but since apparently we were the only ones ordering fries with it and they were out of the bags for the fries where they put them in, so I could see that our order was already ready to go and it was just sitting there for 1 minute, 2 minutes, even more, until then finally the bags for the fries arrived. And by then I was expecting it to be cold and it wasn't hot anymore. It was lukewarm. My burger, the bun, the top of a bun was ice cold actually, but in the middle it was still warm enough. So that was the first thing that turned me a little bit off there, but the burger itself was okay. So I liked it. It was not the best burger I ever had, but also not the worst. It was overpriced for 10 bucks, I can say for sure. But the real downer were the fries. I have read someplace that they double deep fry them so that they are especially delicious, and that is the reason I guessed why they have so many points. So that's the reason why I only took a small portion, and the small portion turned out to be more than you would usually get in a restaurant when you order a large portion in Germany. So it was like a real big one. But double fried here doesn't mean that it is extra crispy as I would have expected, and I was looking forward to get extra crispy fries. They were just soggy and completely greasy. So I only ate like half of it, and my sister was getting through her portion and afterwards she didn't felt that well. For me, fortunately at least, I saved some points by not eating those. They were a complete disappointment, but also I was disappointed with my Weight Watchers app again, because I looked up everything beforehand to make sure I have enough points. And then when I ate the burger, I noticed that it has 2 patties. And I wasn't expecting that. And in the app, it just said 1 portion of a patty and a specific amount of points behind it. So I looked into how many grams that would translate to. So obviously they were just talking about 1 patty. And I didn't order a double burger or something. It was the usual hamburger. It just usually comes with 2 patties, which I didn't know. So I had to double the amount there. And that brought me to the limit of my daily allowance. A little bit over actually. Oh, and I completely forgot to mention how many points it cost me. And since I only ate half of the fries, it was 34 points. Wow. So a very disappointing meal, especially if you are going in expecting something great. I mean, it's taste-wise, at least the burger was okay. My sister was disappointed with her cheesesteak, also in regards of a taste, not just the size. So it was an experiment. I guess we can go there again just to check out in summer how the milkshakes are, because they are supposed to be great. And they have to be great because one milkshake, the smallest one, has already almost enough points for my daily allowance to exceed that. And if I would take a large one, then it is like 1.5 of my daily allowance. So that is something that I will have to save up for, but maybe that is something worth trying. Otherwise, I would say Five Guys. Sorry guys, not my thing.
And later in the evening I was a little bit peckish, so I made myself a very lean snack, similar to my breakfast, which only cost me 1 point. On Tuesday I started with my regular breakfast again, and this time it added up to 10 points. For lunch I had a can of lentil soup, which I tried to pimp up with 2 of those very lean wieners, which only come in at 1 point per sausage. But those turned out to be way too chewy to be a good addition to that dish, so I will not try that again. 10 points for this lunch. And after eating, I headed out for a walk.
Quick update about my arm. So today it is like 99% back to normal. I think it was just a bad sore or maybe a pinched nerve. I don't know. If it happens again, I will make sure to check in with a physician. I might even do that anyway along the way, just to double check if it might have been something different than just that. But for now, everything is fine and nothing to be concerned of.
And while I filmed this, an old friend dropped by, closer than ever before.
Cute.
He really seems to like me, sitting down right next to me and starting to groom himself. And I have no complaints about that. In the evening, as I had enough points, I was giving myself the treat of having some nacho chips with cheese dip. And of course some jalapenos on top. 20 points for the chips and 4 points for the dip. Later that evening I was still a little bit hungry, so I took another slice of crisp bread and pimped it with quite a lot of 0 points cold cuts, which almost felt like cheating but is completely allowed. So 1 point for this. On Wednesday I skipped the regular breakfast and started the day with a consommé with marrow dumplings. I expected those dumplings to be a little bit more chewy and not that soft, so I will likely not have that again, but it was worth a try. 9 points for this. For lunch I chose to have again those chicken nuggets that are more chicken fingers in substance but shaped more like nuggets. 17 points for the nuggets and astonishing 8 points for the curry sauce I used with it. So regarding that sauce I should maybe look into something with less points to substitute it in the future. We will see. In between I had a Fanta Zero, which comes at 0 points, no surprise, with watermelon flavor. Would I have not known that it is watermelon, I would have guessed it, but still it tasted quite artificial. So again, something that was okay, but nothing that I guess I will revisit soon. The remaining 9 points of a day I invested into bread chips to have to snack on in the evening. On Thursday I skipped breakfast entirely and had a large lunch, for which I had some nice cassoulet meat, which came in at 16 points, and used that as a side for my salad, which comes in at 14 points since I now use 3 tablespoons of oil instead of just 2 which I usually use, and also instead of the 6 that originally were supposed to go into the recipe. So 30 points for this large lunch. In the evening then I had an instant meal, which here was cevapcici with rice, which was 14 points. As later that day I still wanted to have a small snack, I was trying this brand I have never used before, which is called Filinchen. It is crisp bread but very thin, so that 1 slice comes at 0 points and 3 slices at 1 point. I only used 1 slice to test it and had some 0 points cold cuts on it. Again, feeling like cheating, but it is still completely fine. 0 points for this one. Which, by the way, for my taste is way too thin. So I guess this is a brand that I will not use again. It's only fine to use if you want to completely concentrate on the taste of a cold cuts and don't want to taste anything else, because it literally is just like eating paper. You know, this edible paper, not sure what the English word for that is. On Friday I had a banana for breakfast, and for lunch I had a goulash soup, which is basically a stew, but a very lean one, which only comes in at 8 points. Where I guess the little bit of a trick is that there was not much in there besides the sauce. So it was very light, but also very light on meat and other stuff of substance. So I opted to throw in some noodles, which came in at 9 points, more than the actual soup. But the end result tasted quite delicious, so it was completely worth it. 17 points for this dish. This day I also had my sister over because we wanted to rewatch the 3rd part of John Wick, in preparation of watching the 4th part the next day at the movies. For that I allowed myself to have something to snack on, which were half a bag of cheese balls, which comes in at 13 points. And I also had a toffee that came in at 3 points. After the movie and after my sister left, I was still a little bit hungry, so I used my remaining 10 points for the day and had some crisp bread, some protein bread with cold cuts, as I had skipped those that day in the morning. 10 points. On Saturday, as I was going to the movies, I was having a nice soup for breakfast, this time a pea soup, which came in at 11 points. I then packed up the second part of that bag of corn-based snacks, which kept me busy the last time I was at the movies, and I guess I would just use them again. 4 points. When I arrived at my destination, I was wondering what to do with the rest of the points. It was not enough to get into a restaurant and have a proper eat. Also, the time was too short for it, so I got myself some sandwiches, which clocked in at 20 points. And then I went into the movie theater.
Well, it's another trip to the movies, and today it's John Wick Chapter 4. I hope the movie is delivering as the previous sequels to the original were also delivering, and I'm looking forward to. So, unfortunately, I am alone today because my sister was getting sick, and since I already bought the tickets, I had to go here and return at least one of them, and the other one I will take since I'm already here and the trip was quite a long one. So let's see how it turns out today. I am pretty positive that this will be a good one again.
At the end of the day, I still had 8 points remaining, which I wasn't sure how to use, so I just didn't. 4 of those points went back into my weekly allowance, so I was able to at least close the week with 19 points in there. 23 if I would have been allowed to put all my points in that I was saving up at the end of a day. So I didn't quite reach my goal of refilling my weekly allowance to the complete 28 that I had at the start of a week, but it still will be interesting to see how much weight I will lose despite having touched my weekly allowance. We will find out in a few seconds.
Okay, it's Sunday and of course that means it's weighing day, and let's get straight to it. I have lost weight again. This week it was 800 grams, almost a kilogram, so that seems to be the benchmark right now, around a kilogram per week, which is nice, and if I can keep that up, I will be at my goal quite soon, like in 20 weeks or so. So not that soon, but kinda soon. And my overall weight loss so far is now 15.7 kilograms. So that is nice. I still have like 19 and some grams to go, 19 kilograms and some grams. But that should be also, if I keep on a straight and narrow, easy to achieve, hopefully. The weather right now is okay, but as you can see, it is not really that sunny. It is not raining, at least, because most of the week it was raining again, so I didn't get much steps in. But overall, I think it was a nice and quiet week to end my PTO. I am not really looking forward to being back at work, but what can you do? So that is me for this week. I hope you also had a successful week. I hope we will see each other again next week, which means I hope you are switching in, tuning in, coming by, drop by to see what's going on. And hopefully I will have some interesting stuff to tell you. And if not, then I hope you're not getting bored anyway. That is all for now. And again, thanks for watching. Best of luck to you for everything you have planned, and see you next week, hopefully.